Four prisoners killed, 61 injured in fire at Iran's notoriously brutal Evin prison, state media report. Social media footage of the fire at Evin prison outside Tehran on Saturday night. CNN, at least four prisoners were killed and 61 injured after a fire at Evin Prince in northern Tehran. Iranian state media IRNA reported, attributing Iranian authorities. The prisoners died of smoke inhalation, IRNA added. The fire happened Saturday night, and an Iranian security officer said those set fire to the warehouse of prison clothing, IRNA reported earlier. A large dark plume of smoke was seen blowing near the prison in multiple videos on social media Saturday night. The fire has been contained and peace is maintained. The governor of Tehran, Mohsen Mansouri, told this IRNA, adding that the fire was started by prisoners. Tehran's Evin prison is a notoriously brutal facility where the regime incarcerates political dissidents. Now the situation of the prison is completely under control and the peace is maintained in the prison complex, and the streets around the prison are being monitored and under control, Mansouri said. Activist group 1500 Tasbir reported that in videos posted on social media, gunshots were heard and the Iranian special forces were seen heading to the area where the prison is believed to be located. The Iranian official said that the rioters were separated from other prisoners and the other detainees have returned to their cell. IRNA reported. CNN cannot independently verify the situation. Amnesty International Secretary General Agnes Kalamard responded on Twitter to the social media videos with a reminder to Iranian authorities of their legal obligation to respect and protect the lives of prisoners following the fire. Kalamard noted the prison is notorious and retweeted a post from journalist Jason Lezayan, whose for 544 days podcast recounts the time he spent incarcerated in the prison. Evin is no ordinary prison. Many of Iran's best and the brightest have spent long sketches confined there, where brave women and men are denied their basic rights for speaking truth to power. Rezayan wrote, the regime is responsible for what happened to those inside right now. Speaking to state broadcaster IRIB, Tehran's prosecutor Ali Salehi says the conflict at the prison was not linked to the protests that have swept the country following the death of the young woman in police custody. In September, 22-year-old Mahsa Amini died after she was detained by the country's morality police for allegedly not wearing her hijab properly. Iranian authorities have since unleashed a brutal crackdown on demonstrators who have united around a range of grievances with the country's authoritarian regime. Today's conflict of prisoners has nothing to do with the recent riot, and basically, the world related to security prisoners is separate and distant from the prisons of thieves, and financial convicts where the fire and conflict took place, Salehi said. According to Tehran's prosecutor, wards 7 and 8 were overcrowded, and the main issue was the fire, which he said had been started by some prisoners. Both the prison and the surrounding streets are under control now, he said. According to Tehran's, he said, witnesses previously said that Iranian security forces beat, shot, and detained students at Tehran's Sharif University. Last month, nearly 2 dozen children were killed during the protest, according to a report by Amnesty International. At least 23 children, some as young as 11, were killed by security forces and in the last 10 days of September alone, the report said. Earlier this week, Iranian official also admitted that school students participating in street protests were being detained and taken to psychiatric institutions. CNN's Negar Mahmoudi, Gianluca Pilore, Jumana Karadsheh in Istanbul, and Niamh Kennedy in London contributed to this report.